Hello, everyone. It's Mary Weber and Travel Guru Girl and Travel Girls on the Go. Welcome to the December presentation. We weren't able to meet in person this month, but I thought I would, along with my newsletter, send this presentation because it explains a little bit more than just what the newsletter says. So I'm going to share my screen right now. And there we go. So we are going to talk about welcome to Travel Girls on the Go. And that's me on this side here. And this is Glenda Pollock, who I'm the travel agent, and she is the lady that will be the lead on a lot of the girls only Girls on the Go trips. So many of you know her. Now we're just going to move on to the next screen. So things you need to know. Your passport has to be good for 6 months past travel. So if you have a trip in February and your passport expires in May or June, you'll have to get a new one as soon as you can, because that is not going to do. They don't want you to get sick where you are and then your passport expires, and then how are you going to get home? So that's one of the main reasons why they do that. European countries may require what's called a travel visa, but they talked about doing it in 2024, but it looks like it's been pushed ahead to 2025. Certain other countries may require a visa, like Vietnam and Cambodia, Egypt, China, places like that. You must make sure that you buy travel insurance. I don't sell travel insurance, medical insurance, but I will put you in touch with the right people and you can get some quotes. You can decide whether you want to have cancellation insurance, but medical is a must wherever you go. Travel pricing has gone up at least 25% in the last couple of years, and certainly since last year, it's gone up a lot. I would say it is 25% and probably more closer to 40% in pre-COVID times. So you can't expect to have a lot of sales anymore. It just isn't going to happen. Less planes are available, and until they get things really moving ahead, it's going to be a lot more expensive than what you are used to seeing. Our Girls on the Go trips. If you have not gone on a trip and you're wondering why everybody else is going but you aren't, then perhaps you should think about joining one of our group trips. So what's the main reason why you aren't going? Even if a trip is not listed here today, there is a trip for you out there that I can arrange for you. So maybe any of the topics that I'm talking about today don't appeal to you. Places don't appeal to you, but you have something in mind, just let me know, and I know that I can probably find that trip for you. It's not likely to see the deals that you used to see before COVID, so don't be waiting for those deals. If you want to go somewhere, just book it. Once our groups are announced, it's really important to get your deposit in, because we can only hold space for a few months before it's taken away from us. And it could be taken away a lot more quickly if it's a popular trip and they need the space. So it's important to get our deposits in. They're usually not that much. And then you only have to pay your final payment either 60 or 90 days before your trip. Your feedback is very important to us so that we can plan our trips in advance. So we need to know where you'd like to go. If you have air credits or points, that they can be used in most cases on your land trip. Group tours give us the best value for the dollar, because those companies use the same hotels and itineraries on a regular basis, and therefore they can get a better value and we get a better deal for our money. When we're planning future trips, you want to decide who you want to go with, what you want to do, when you want to go, where you want to go, why you want to go there. Maybe it's for history, maybe it's art, maybe it's a reunion, maybe it's R&R, whatever it happens to be. Do you want a river or an ocean cruise? Do you want an all-inclusive? What time of year do you want to go? Generally, we would stay away from July and August. If you're going to Europe, a good time to go is end of April, beginning of May, up until the beginning of June. Then September and October are good times. A lot of those countries in Europe are warm right into November, although you can get some rain. So picking a lower season, a shoulder season, can work for many budgets. There will be less crowds for sure. It will be less expensive for you, but the weather may be a factor, and that's okay. You just have to dress for it. If you've never been to a foreign destination where they don't speak English as their first language, it could be a bit of a culture shock. You may not be used to their bathrooms or their foods or the room sizes, and maybe they don't have air conditioning when you think it's quite hot. So those are different things to keep in mind when you go, and that's why it's helpful when you go with a group, or if you talk to someone like me who's been to most of these countries. So again, I just did a picture here. You could do yourself a little bit of a travel vision board and really nail down what you want to do, where you want to go, what, when, where, why, who, and really think about it. And then I think that will really help you with your future travel plans. So UNESCO World Heritage Sites are often on bucket lists and in many, many destinations that we go to. So here we have Egypt and the pyramids, we have Machu Picchu in Peru, and we have the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. So those are things that people, when they talk about UNESCO World Heritage Sites, these are the kinds of things that people like to go and see. I've had a few people ask me about African safaris. You should plan well in advance for these. There's certain times of the year when there's migrations, such as in Kenya and Tanzania. There's a rotation of how the animals move from country to country and plains looking for food. So if you want to see a migration where that's the wildebeests are moving, and you'll see hundreds of thousands of these, and I had the opportunity to do that, then you do need to plan ahead, because in many of these countries, you're also restricted as to how many people can go in at a time into these preserves, that sort of thing. So for an in-depth experience, a tour is the best way to go. On our safari, we only had 6 people. And so you can see where you're limited if there's only 6 people to a vehicle. And of course, they don't want hundreds of thousands of people in their parks all at once, because that it really affects the animals. So when you're thinking of Africa, is it Rwanda and the gorillas? Is it Kenya or Tanzania, or is it South Africa that you're looking to go to? And even Morocco, of course, is considered well, it's in Northern Africa. Egypt is also part of the African part. Well, it's not African, but it's in that jurisdiction. So you would be considering those options of where you want to go. Flights to Africa can be very long, so you be prepared to make this type of trip a lot sooner rather than when you get much older, because it's a lot harder to recover from that sort of thing. I often will add an extra day at the beginning, or 2 days, and an extra 1 or 2 days at the end of a trip as well, just so that you cannot be so rushed when you're trying to get around. So again, a year to 2 years, it will cost you more money. So if you need to budget it out in the next 2 years, then that's something you should be considering right now. Otherwise, you can ask me about it and I can see what's available for you. Oh, and I forgot to mention, you can do Africa, there's a river cruise ambition option with AMA Waterways, and they do the South Africa and the Zambezi River. You can also do a cruise on the outside perimeter of Africa, and it will take you or allow you sometimes to do some of the game drives, or you can do the actual tour where you're doing a game drive almost every day. And I'm just going to go back, whoops, here. So on our safari, we saw our zebras, our giraffes, the elephants, the lion, the rhinoceros, the leopard. Those are all considered the big 5. And this guy here, of course, he's one of the big beasts as well. So water buffalo type of guy. So those are the things or animals that you'd be looking for in your big 5. Australia, New Zealand, and Asia. These are trips to Australia and New Zealand, again, are a bucket list type of trip. So you can take a tour, or you can have air and hotels booked for you, and then maybe rent a car or fly between cities and then just do things on your own. Or you can take a cruise around Australia. You can take a cruise from Australia to New Zealand and combine both countries, or you can do bits and pieces of both. There are really a lot of choices with this. And of course, same with the tours. You can do certain parts of Australia and not others. So it really depends on what you've got on your list. You can also do long stays, which means you could stay in a certain part of the Gold Coast in Australia for 3 weeks or more if you wish, and then do things on your own as you go out on a daily basis and just do your own schedule. So budget will vary and air flights will be long. So it's better to, again, do these trips and plan them as quickly as possible for the future, because if you're not getting any younger, they will be more difficult to do. The best times to go here are generally our winter, which is November to March, and their summer. But you can go on a shoulder season as well to save money. So maybe into April, you might want to look at that. It won't be as hot either, so, and less tourists. So that's a consideration. Same with Asia. You can go to Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, any of those. You can do those by cruise along the coastline, go into Japan, that sort of thing. So have you thought about what you're going to do this winter? And you know that this scene is not too far away. We've been extremely lucky, but it is going to be here one of these days. The first trip that I'm going to talk to you about is the Caribbean cruise on the Regal Princess from Galveston with Glenda. She will be the lead on this trip. You will join 12 ladies. So we still have some availability. There's still some cabins available. This package includes the Princess Plus, which is your liquor package, your Wi-Fi and crew gratuities, 2 free desserts and fitness classes. It doesn't include your excursions, extra night hotels, or transfers. So your days at sea can be spent enjoying the amenities of the ship, swimming pool, sun, entertainment, and you would have to fly to Houston the day before. Right now, a balcony is about $16.33 Canadian share, and plus your airfare. So the airfare would be from Edmonton to Houston, and then you would take a transfer from Houston to your hotel in Galveston. You will need 1 extra night in Galveston, and of course, you could always add extra nights if you so wish. So we do have 12 ladies, so we will welcome anyone else who might be interested. Just let me know. So Roatan is in Honduras, very scenic. Belize, of course, is known for its diving and for its snorkeling. Cozumel has beautiful beaches, and again, you could snorkel there as well. And if you've been to Mexico, you may have already been to Cozumel. So the benefits, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the river cruise that the Girls on the Go is going to be doing in June. But part of those benefits of going on a river cruise are seeing multiple countries and unpacking once. It's almost all inclusive. It includes wine and beer with lunch and dinner, and a choice of included excursions. So it could be an active one, or maybe it's a historical one, and all of your meals and free Wi-Fi. So you don't have your gratuities included, but certainly that unless you're shopping, you won't have to pay for much else. The ability to be in the center of most European cities is so nice, because once you've done your excursion, you can go out on your own until the ship is sailing. There are no formal nights. It's very relaxed. There's only up to 170 passengers usually on a ship, so you get to know your crew and fellow travelers quite easily. There's no seasickness, and a single supplement is waived from time to time, so excellent way for solo travelers to go on certain cruises. Not every river cruise line does do this. So you can just ask me about that. Unique itineraries go in Europe from Portugal, France, Germany, Switzerland, Holland, Vietnam, and Cambodia, in Asia, Africa, Egypt. So lots and lots of different choices for river cruises. This is my pictures from the Rhine. The Rhine River Cruise is one that goes from Amsterdam to Basel, Switzerland, or vice versa. So it's a great, also 7-day cruise if someone has already done the Danube or just wants to do something different. So our trip on June 2nd to the 11th, there are already 10 girls on this trip, one man. And so this starts in Prague. Prague is a beautiful city. We have 2 nights included there, but some of the ladies are already adding 1 or 2 nights to this just to make full use of it, because your arrival day is really a half a day. It's not a full day. So by the time you get there, you've already used up part of your day. Then after 2 days there, they'll take you to Regensburg. That's where the river is, and that's where you'll get on your boat. You will unpack once and just enjoy the itinerary. There is 1 excursion included in each new port. There's no seasickness. There even is bicycles on this boat. So if you so wish and you have some free time and you want it to just go along some of the paths on the Danube, it's quite flat, you'd be able to take a bike ride as well. So key cities here are Budapest, Bratislava, Vienna, and Prague. Prague. So this is a view of one of the sites of Prague. It's just absolutely stunning, beautiful, lots of good food, lots of little mini concerts. Oh, just a beautiful shopping is just wonderful, and very good value for your money when you're in Prague. This is Passau. It's as you're traveling along the river, you'll see this area here, and it's absolutely stunning and scenic. Then you move on to the Wachau Valley. It's a very famous valley, and here there's a castle on the top of here. So as you're drifting by here, you will see some castles. Then onto the Benedictine Abbey at Melk. I believe this is around 800 to 1,000 years old. So it's known for its vast library and books, and just a huge, huge building. Beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. Then you move on to Vienna, and this is a picture of the outside of the opera house. An opera is not included, but you may want to go to a musical concert in Vienna. That would be an optional tour that you would take, but it's well worth doing once you're in Vienna. And this is just an example of one of the halls, music halls that you might see, and the presentation that you would go to. And then you end in Budapest. Budapest is made up of two cities, Buda and Pest together, and one's on one side, one's on the other. And this is the parliament buildings that often are associated with Budapest when you see a picture of it. Now, some of the you will have an included excursion here, but you may want to stay 1 or 2 extra days just to, maybe you want to take the baths or see some more stuff here. It's really a lovely place to visit. So as I mentioned before, the river cruises, there's the Danube, which of course we'll do on June the 2nd. Then you could take the Rhine. I showed you the pictures of the castles. There's Christmas markets. France have done a couple. It's wine and food. Author cruises. So if you're a book lover, you might want to go on a cruise with one of the authors that you like. Vietnam and Cambodia. It's one of my most favorite river cruises as well. It's very unique and different, and small boat. They can either be 32 or 64 passengers. So very, very nice. India, the Douro River in Portugal, and of course the Nile in Egypt. So there's just a picture. If you were in Vienna at this time of year, you might go to the Christmas markets there. It's just absolutely stunning. We've had 4 ladies went before COVID, and they absolutely loved it. Some more pictures of the market and more of one of the cities along the way. Our third trip for 2024 is classic Spain and Portugal with Colette Vacations. So it's 14 days, 20 meals, and 2 choice on tour options. So the must-sees are included, like the Geronimo's Monastery in Belém in Lisbon, Toledo. You would see the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. So you start in Barcelona, you have 2 days there. If you so wish, you can add on 4 more extra days beforehand, and I would recommend that if you want to see more of Barcelona and actually that area of Spain. Then on you go to Valencia, then on to Granada, where you have the Alhambra, Seville, which is just an absolutely romantic, beautiful city. Then the capital, which is Madrid, Toledo, Alves, and Lisbon. So if you choose, you could always add on more in Lisbon if you want, or you could do the post excursion of 4 nights over to Madeira Island. So again, that would be very unique and different, and it's just a matter of deciding whether you want to do something different or make that extra special for yourself. This tour without air is $54.99 per person double. Occupancy, there is a single rate as well. And I do have a PDF that goes into this in quite a bit more detail. So I believe that the deposit is $696 for to hold your space on this one. And even though this is October of 2024, it's not too early to actually get your name in and your deposit for this particular tour. I mean, Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. This is Seville, and this is the Alhambra in the south of Spain. This is Lisbon again, and this is an overview of Lisbon. So it just gives you an idea of how beautiful it is in this particular area of the world. Other things that you can do in the winter, lots of people talk about Costa Rica. So I am going to give you 2 examples. This is a hotel all-inclusive stay from February 18th to 25th, but of course there's other dates. This is with Sunwing. It's $25.15 per person, double occupancy. So that's your air, your hotel, and all inclusions, meals, drinks. If you're going as a single, it would be $32.35. Again, everything's included. So if you want to just veg out and enjoy the warm weather here, this is an excellent price and excellent getaway during the winter. Another option would be an active adventure, and this is with G Adventures. It's part of the Jane Goodall collection, and she's into saving the animals and stuff like that. And G Adventures really works closely with this kind of people and places to make sure that their environment is protected. So up to 16 people on this trip, they will roommate match you. So it's $26.29 per person plus air. It's very diverse here, so you'll get a chance to see the volcanoes, the wildlife, the rainforest, and the beaches. So if you really want to get an all-round of this country, this would be an excellent way. 16 days, so with this price, it's just a really, really good value. You can do a Portugal long stay. Both February and March are sold out for 2023, but now they made it available as an $18.99 per person double for actually 23 nights in April 16th to May 1st. So the weather would now be getting warmer, which is an excellent time to go, less crowds. You get an apartment, a style hotel where you have your own little balcony, looks around on the grounds. You would get your own groceries, or you can go to local restaurants not too far away from your hotel. And this is what the outside of the hotel looks like. The bathroom, the kitchenette, and the little balcony that they have looking out into the hotel area. Hiking and cycling, you can do this all over the world, and it doesn't matter how your level of ability is, because they have all levels of activity, going from 1, which is the lowest, up to 7, which is the highest. If you're a cycler and you think, oh geez, I'd really like to try that in one of the countries, cycling on the Portugal coast for a week is a level 1 activity. So you can get an e-bike, and a very enjoyable way to see Portugal as well. Several companies do this. You could do walking in Italy. We did walking in France, which was absolutely phenomenal. So we would walk from our hotel in the morning to the next hotel, usually an all-day thing, and they would transfer your luggage for you and for us when we were on it. Another popular walk is the Camino in Spain. That can be 7 days, could be 10, 14. It could also be a month or 6 weeks. So it depends on how much of the Camino you want to do. So you'd have to ask me about that. So it can be from very leisurely to very active or advanced. An example of local living. This is a popular tour with many ladies. I think I've had 5 different ladies do this trip at different times. So I've given you several dates here where it's available. you start and meet in Naples, then on the way to your agriturismo where you're going to stay for the week, you visit Pompeii, so you get a bit of that history. An agriturismo is a working farm that takes in travelers. So that will be where you stay for the week and where you go out for your specific activities, whether it's a hike or cooking demo or market excursions, that sort of thing. And then you would do your walks in the country. So one of the most phenomenal walks, of course, is the Amalfi Coast, and that's one of the walks that's the highlight of this particular trip. The group is 16 with an average of 12, and they will match you to a roommate. And so it is active, but you don't have to hike. If, let's say, there's 3 hikes on this tour and you only feel like doing one, you don't have to do the other 2. It's your choice to do whatever. Then there's an optional day where it's a free day and you could go to Capri, which I highly recommend. And the euro is the currency. It's easy to go to other parts of Italy from here, and that's generally what most of my ladies have done afterwards. So 7 breakfasts, 1 lunch, and 6 dinners on this particular trip. And this is a bit of the scenery that you would see when you do your walk. Spain long stay with hosts. So what we mean by host is there's actually a husband and wife that are stay at the hotel here. They've done this trip, I think, 5 or 6 times, and they're there to host you and let you know what's available in the region. Again, you're in an apartment, you buy your own groceries, but you can go to restaurants nearby. You can take the train into Barcelona, and they give you lots of different choices of optional excursions. This is an excellent choice for women travelers. All the people that come here are from either Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto, or British Columbia. If you're coming with someone else, it's $34.99 Canadian from Edmonton. So that's your air and your apartment. There's no meals included, but you will have, you'll be taken to Barcelona or picked up in Barcelona and then taken to your apartment. And every day they will host a happy hour for you to get to know each other from 5 to 7, and there'll be specials on beer and wine. So it's an excellent trip, and everyone that's gone on this has absolutely loved it. Ocean cruises. So some of you will say, well, I don't want to do an ocean cruise. I wouldn't like that at all. Well, it really depends on what you want to do. You can unpack once, and you've got your same room all the time. You can see a lot in a fewer amount of days, but it won't be intense because, of course, you're going along the coastline of many countries, and so that means that you won't be seeing as much intensively, but you'll get a good overview, and then that helps you decide whether you really want to come back or not. My very first ocean cruise when I first started traveling was from Barcelona to Istanbul. So going, that means I was in Spain, I was in France, I was in Italy, I was in Croatia, I was in Greece, and then I ended up in Istanbul, Turkey. So to me, that was the most unbelievable trip. I took almost every excursion that I could take, and I thought, well, what if I never come back? And then after that, I thought, no, I will be back. I'll be back to many of these destinations and look at them a lot more intensively. So on a ship, you've got lots of activities, entertainment, all kinds of sizes and shapes and itineraries. So for the people that have done a lot of traveling, sometimes they'll really pick and choose a small ship cruise because they stay in port longer, that sort of thing. But you can go to Europe, you can go to Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore, Fiji, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Africa, Panama. Like you can go South America, Antarctica. So you can go all over the world on a cruise. And depending on that itinerary, that's why a lot of people will choose a cruise. Alaska is also a great choice, especially because we have the boats coming into Vancouver and going up the coastline, coming back down. You only have to fly in Vancouver, and it's just an excellent choice of a quick getaway. You can sail on any ship, but some of the ships don't really offer much in terms of a solo offer. and some do. Some are really catching on to the fact that those of us that are solo travelers are really looking, we really want to get out and travel, and sometimes cruising might be the only way. There are already itineraries showing for 2025 and some into 2026. So if you're looking for something in particular, now is actually the best time to book, because that would be the lowest prices and maybe the most promotions going on. And many may have solo offers as well. So some of the cruise lines that I mentioned that are really catering to solo travelers now, one of them is Norwegian Cruise Lines. Example of this is March 3rd to 10th from Port Canaveral. A solo balcony cabin, that's what it looks like for the solo traveler, is $3,039 plus your airfare. This is a very nice itinerary. It goes from Port Canaveral. You could also go to Orlando from there. If you want to add extra days to your vacation. But the stops on this cruise are really good. San Juan, St. Thomas, and then Amber Cove in the Dominican Republic. Excellent ports for a 7-day cruise. This cruise line also has a solo lounge. They also have solo meetups and stuff like that. So it's really a friendly kind of cruise for solos. So lots of different itineraries. So just call me for more information. The celebrity ships are also catering. They do have solo cabins where they're designated solo cabins. They may be a little bit, celebrity may be a little bit more than, of course, Norwegian. So the Celebrity Beyond is a ship that's probably about 4,500 people. It has lots of stuff going on in there, lots of entertainment, good food, etc. But it's a large ship. So it's also like a destination in itself because it's got so much stuff on it. But this is a sample of their solo balcony cabin. The itinerary I chose is a 10-day itinerary. It goes from Fort Lauderdale, St. Martin, St. Lucia, Barbados, Antigua, and St. Kitts. So this is one of those really nice Caribbean itineraries, more than the standard where you're going to the same islands over and over again. So this is an excellent choice and may contribute to it being just a little bit more than some of the other ones. Palm de America is another one that caters to solo travelers. 3461 plus air for this 7-day itinerary. Again, they're going to Turks and Caicos, they're going to San Juan, and they're going to St. Thomas, and then their own island the day before you get off. So excellent itinerary again for a 7-day itinerary. They only have 2,100 passengers. They have meetings for solo travelers, and this includes the drink, dining, and Wi-Fi package as well. So excellent value for this trip. Panama Canal. So there's lots of different itineraries. You can do a partial entry and return to Fort Lauderdale, which is usually about 10 days. Or you can do a complete entry and go from Fort Lauderdale to LA or LA to Fort Lauderdale. But you can also go from Fort Lauderdale to Vancouver in the late spring when those ships are being reassigned to Alaska. So if you're thinking of a longer cruise that has a lot of great stops, fly to Fort Lauderdale, get off in Vancouver, and then go home. They do the reverse in the fall as well. So getting into October, you would see them leaving from Vancouver and going to Fort Lauderdale. So lots of good choices on that. Expedition cruises. So expeditions are generally really small expedition boats that are made just for an expedition. So that could be Antarctica, the Arctic, Galapagos, and they often have solo cruiser promotions. So just ask me about that if you're interested. Antarctica is a bucket list destination, will cost a little bit more, but if that's on your list, then check. It's usually during our winter and their summer, of course, which would be November to about March is what you would be looking at. Another bucket list destination that just happens to be on sale, one of my favorite itineraries as well, and a favorite company that does this tour. It's part of the National Geographic in line with G-Adventures. Inca Explorer, 15 days from Lima to Lima, $4,047 based on double plus air. This is upgraded accommodations, only a small group up to 16 people. So nothing could be better than going in a small group to Machu Picchu. They will do a roommate match. So if this is on your dream list, they will match you up with someone. And it's about a physical 3. There is altitude here, of course, so you may have altitude sickness. There's no rhyme or reason as to who does or doesn't get it, but they have ways you can take some altitude pills, that sort of thing. So I wouldn't let that dissuade you. But again, one of these, a trip here, the flights are long, so you'll want to do it sooner rather than later. Island Delights with Athens, Mykonos, Crete, Santorini, September 16th through the 28th. This is $35.19 per person double. That's your air and your hotel, breakfast, and then the transfers between these locations. So this is what our 10 girls did this past October. It was an excellent women's trip. And if you want any more answers about this particular trip, Glenda was the lead on here as well, and so she can tell you a little bit more about it. But she said most people went with one person that they knew, and at the end they had 9 new friends. So I think that just speaks volumes. But for those of you, it could be friends, families, couples, whatever. Anyone can go on this particular trip. I had a honeymoon couple go on this trip as well, and they absolutely loved it. So it's a great itinerary with lots of free time in these destinations for you to choose what you want to do. Again, there's more pictures of the area. Ireland is very popular. There is many different itineraries that you can do this. This one here has more days or nights in a destination. I did this very similar tour exactly, except I did it in 9 days. So you can imagine how quick my trip was. This would be the best way to actually do it if you had the time to do it. But again, as I said, there's 7 days. You could combine Scotland and Ireland together as well. Lots of different choices. Italy. So there's lots of choices for Italy, of course. There's many ways to see it. You could take a tour or a cruise, or you take a tour and then you do some add-on and exploration on your own. I do lots of customization, so I can certainly work that out for you. So ask me about some of those options. This is an example of a tour that's currently on sale. It's the Best of Italy, April 24th to May 6th. This is a good time to go. It's not overly as busy. Weather will still be good, and maybe a little less money to pay for this. So $51.75. This is actually on sale. 13 days, 12 nights, 12 breakfasts, 6 dinners. So you'll see the key places: Rome, Florence, Venice, Sorrento, and the Italian lakes. So that takes in all or most of the main sites you'd want to see in Italy. Alaska cruises, I have tons of different ones that go from Vancouver, lots of different dates, lots of dates in May where I have other people going as well. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'm on this particular one, April 30th to May 7th. It's the beginning of the season. It will be a little bit cooler, but it's the least expensive of the time periods that are offered in the season. So a balcony starts at $22.07 and inside starts at about $1,500. So it's easy to get from Edmonton to Vancouver, whether you drive or fly, that sort of thing. So lots of different dates on that. You can just ask me about that. May 14th to 21st, September 3rd to 10th, May 21st to 28th. Of course, there's lots of different cruise lines that do it, so you just have to ask me about it. This is just some of the scenery that I took pictures of on my trip last spring. And this one of the glaciers that we stopped at. So lower prices may mean less inclusions. And is it value? Is it a value to you? So when you take a more budget price trip, you have to be prepared that there's going to be less things that are included, because the more that you get on a trip, the more you're actually paying for. But in a way, You don't have to think about what you're going to do. It's all taken care of for you. A lot of people that take a budget price trip, like Cost Saver with the Trafalgar family, they take it because number one, they're on a very strict budget, or number two, they want more free time and they don't care as much about the excursions that are offered. They care that they're in the destination, they have a hotel, and they're prepared for that. I did have a couple that went, that I did stress to them that there's less things included, and hotels may not be as central. But until they actually went, they didn't really get what I was talking about. So in this case, there was less meals included. Their hotels were definitely not in a central area, so it was not as easy for them to explore in their spare time. Popular attractions and sites may not be included. So, for example, you might drive by the Rome Colosseum, but you won't be going in. So I would say you should go in. Honestly, if you're that far, it's well worth going in and seeing it and getting the history. But also like driving by the Vatican, but not going in. Like those are examples of the things that could happen. And a lot of you may then say, "Oh gosh, I wish I'd have known that I would have taken the other trip instead." Instead, I ended up paying more for optional tours. And the thing about the optional tours is they may not be front of the line because maybe they're last minute. So you may have decided to take an optional tour. It's going to cost you more while you're there, but you may not also be at the front of the line when you're going to get in. So if you've never been to a foreign destination and they don't speak English as their first language, it can be a culture shock. So that's why it is important to go on a tour sometimes. Room and foods may not be like home, so be adventurous and give it a try. Plumbing, heating, and air conditioning may not be the same as what we're used to at home. So have an open mind when you go, because you are going to a different country and they have different way of living. If you don't care about seeing the insides of so many sites, then a trip like Cost Saver might be a very good choice for you, because maybe you want to wander around. But if you want to wander around on your own, just keep in mind that the hotel you're staying in may not be easily accessible to the main part of town. So, or you may not be used to using their transit system to get around because of the language barrier, etc. So just keep those kind of things in mind. So maybe it is of value to you, you don't care about the sites, then it is a good choice for you. Maybe you are on a very strict budget, but when you are on that strict budget, then please remember that you can't add on all the rest of that stuff, because it will end up costing you more. Okay. So what I needed to know is who's interested in Winter Portugal 2025 group. When I did a survey, there was a number of people that said they would be interested in the long stay in Portugal. So all we'd like to do is take some names now so that we can start planning for 2025. There's no obligation. We just want to get an idea of numbers. And when it comes down to it, once we've got the names, then we would be contacting you and saying, okay, are you interested in going? This is how much it's going to cost. Okay, the other trip that people did express some interest in was Nashville. And any group that we do, we have to have a minimum of 10 people to consider it being a group, okay? So again, we would take names on this, but for Nashville, I can send you there 1 or 2 people anytime. They're open all year round. It's like going to Vegas, so no problem to do that at all. So the other thing that we want to know is who might want a room share in 2024, or what are you looking for? That's what we need to know. If you would like a room share on any of these or anything that I have not mentioned, a Caribbean cruise, an Alaska cruise, any other cruise, a river cruise, Spain and Portugal, Ireland and Scotland, Egypt, Croatia, Italy, Iceland, Antarctica, any of those things, anything that's I've not listed. I would like to know what country you're interested in, what time of year you want to go, and that you're looking for a roommate, because then I can put it into our newsletter, and I welcome you guys to respond to me so that I can put you in touch with each other. Okay. So that is winding it down. I collect Christmas bears, or I did for a long, long time. And these are just some of them, and they're wishing you a Merry Christmas. And these are the travel bears, and they've been to many different destinations. And we've got New York, London, Rome, Paris, Barcelona. And then we had this lovely couple that got engaged on a cruise. So I'm wishing you well for the Christmas season. Happy holidays. And I look forward to working with you in 2024. And thank you to all of those that have worked with me this year. I consider you friends, and I value all of your business. And I look forward to all the new people that I can work with in the future. Thank you so much, and enjoy your Christmas season, and see you in 2024.